guys quickly, so I'm just going to pick on someone. Albert, how did you address this one? How would you address this one?
I'm just going to walk out of the exam and get that, and it's not bad.
Albert, any thoughts?
I have no idea.
No, you look like you had something going.
An orator's rhetorical treatment of the values of the audience compared to their important speech achieves textual integrity by resonating towards the audience's beliefs and ideas.
Okay, so there you try to link your two concepts to the audience's values, yeah?
What are the two concepts?
Well, your thesis doesn't necessarily have to mention them. But in any true speeches, like the way that I would generally pose this question is that I would tie my two concepts as now they're the values of the audience. So if my concepts were tolerance and equality, I would say that the audience values tolerance and equality. Whether they do or not, I don't really care. But that's what they do now. Okay? When we look at the idea of it's as much about the audience as the speaker, the way I break this down is a speech is targeted towards an audience, yeah? That's why you're making a speech. You're not talking to yourself. So the idea is they're specifically factoring in to who they're talking to. Pearson talks to a university audience, so he has big words. Atwood's talking to feminists, so she doesn't talk about patriarchal society, right? You have specific targeted elements in each speech. But the fact is, it's as much about their own values and ideals, which is the speaker element of the question, right? They're putting in their own opinions onto it. Atwood is criticizing that feminism is mostly wrong when they're an extremist, right? Pearson is saying that current society is not quite right. But the idea is they're still reflecting the values of the audience, being that people want to be equal, people want to be tolerated. And that's pretty much how you would tie the question and your two concepts together. The main key words you want to be targeting are like the focus of the speech, the targeted audience, things like how these opinions have been reflected by the speakers, how this reflects the speaker's own opinions, but more so the audience.
You can also do this like in a really technique-driven way. So like, an important speech is about the audience, and you'd say that a speech is about the audience through the rhetorical devices that the speaker uses. And that way they engage directly with the audience themselves. And that way you can make the link that the speech is about the audience because the speaker wants to appeal to them. So does this question make sense to everyone? Does everyone feel they can approach it enough?
When it says how have speeches reflected the values of the audience, does that mean the audience has to agree with what the speaker is trying to say?
Well,
because when I look at that,
okay, the audience doesn't have to necessarily reflect, it doesn't have to have the same opinion as the people, but the same value per se. So in terms of the idea of like, so Dad was talking about, I guess, equality, right? Right, justice and equality. The audience don't have to believe that they don't have to believe if everybody should be equal in society. They can believe on one side in justice, that they should be equal. Yeah, that's a value per se. And in a broader scale, a value doesn't have to have an opinion of right or wrong. But when they discuss it, people can believe in right or wrong, but the value as a whole doesn't have to be only right or wrong. Justice can be good justice or bad or injustice. Yeah? They're still the same value. But society, like the values of this society and according to an opinion, can be saying we prefer injustice in this circumstance. Yeah? You sort of understand what I'm
so what do you actually say?
Okay, you can say that. It's as much about addressing the audience of the opinion. He addresses it, he doesn't necessarily agree with it. Right? He brings up the audience's belief of injustices. But in reality, his values, as in the speaker's values, are reflected through. Right? He's still targeting the audience. It's about trying to change their opinions, trying to appeal to their ideas, which makes it as a forefront. But behind the fact that the audience doesn't actually believe it, this is his opinion speaking.
What you do in like the values of the audience, and this is where social context comes in, we talked about earlier. So social context to many people will be the values of the audience. So like the 92 Marvel decision, like the values of the audience will be concerned regarding the outbreak of bad rights. And you get the question to talk about how through rhetorical
I didn't like it.